Very good morning, my dear friends. I am Professor Datta Kamkar, preparing a video lecture for 5th semester BCom students. And the syllabus is prescribed by RCU for the year 1920. I would like to call it as video number 1. This is my first video or lecture for 5th semester students for the year 1920. Generally, we gather in classrooms and our actual lecture starts. But this time, because of situations and circumstances prevailing in the society, there is a change in the mode of lecture, and the lectures will be delivered through videos. Maybe recorded videos, or maybe sometime online classes through different applications like Google Meet, Google School, or Zoom, etc. Depending upon the convenience, we shall try to deliver lecture and make it available to you all. We are aware there are challenges on both the sides. There are challenges on teacher side and there are challenges on student sides as far as online classes are concerned. Keeping all those challenges, issues, difficulties in connection with online classes, we shall try to manage online classes. We need to adjust, adopt and accommodate to the situations in which we are living. This is my first attempt and my first video for 5th semester BCom students. In fact, I do not know who are there in my divisions. Yet, an effort is made to deliver the lecture to all the divisions of 5th semester students. Before I speak on the syllabus, the paper or the content that we are going to study in economics this year, I would like to make a small appeal to you all. Here are few instructions, and if you follow these instructions, it will be beneficial, it will be beneficiary for you and also for us. These special instructions are given keeping in mind online classes, keeping in mind the challenges that we are going to face while conducting classes online. These are very simple instructions. Many of you practice these instructions, but in spite of that, I would like to highlight these things well before I begin my lecture for this particular semester, for this particular academic year 1920. One of the important instructions that we should keep in our mind is create peaceful and learning environment. What happens? We prepare video lectures upload on our sites. Sometimes we upload on YouTube's or social medias, and you try to attend these videos wherever you are. Wherever you are, you try to attend these videos, but see that you need to create a peaceful and learning environment, maybe within or outside. Second one is listen carefully. You should pay attention to the content which is delivered in the videos. Some of you will be there in public places, some of you will be traveling, some of you will be moving here and there. At that time you may try to listen to these videos, but that may not be so effective. Keeping this view in the mind, I would like to appeal that listen these lectures carefully. Then third one is try to understand the concepts, the lessons or the content which is there in videos. In case if you do not understand the content, get back to the concerned teacher. Give your feedback. If you do this, that will help us to improvise our video lectures. Fourth one, you need to draw the lecture notes if possible. What is this lecture notes? It's the notes that you draw while listening to these videos. There are chances that we shall make available notes to you all, but in case if we do not make available, these lecture notes will help you a lot. Fifth one, try to make use of laptops or desktops if you are having at home. Use laptop or desktop if available at home. Do not pressurize your parents to buy a laptop or desktop for the sake of video lectures. Do not burden them. Try to learn things with available resources. Sixth one, if you are having mobile, if you are using my videos on mobile, use horizontal screen so that visibility will be more and it will be clear and effective. Seventh important instruction is we expect your honest feedback. You need to give feedback. Feedback may include the good, the bad, or things which are missing in the content or videos. We need your honest feedback. If you like, what you like. If you dislike, what you dislike. If you can send these feedbacks to us, that will definitely help us to improvise online classes and will be more effective thereafter. These are the things that I wanted to bring to your kind attention well before we enter into our subject economics. Friends, this is economics class, and this year, that is 2019-20, for 5th semester BCom students, the title of the paper is Small Business and Economic Development. This is the title of the paper. Now look at this title, Small Business and Economic Development. Before we go in details of the contents of this particular paper, we will have a question. What is the small business? What is economic development? You know that? Small business is generally owned, managed, run by the private sectors. Small businesses are privately managed. Small businesses may be in the form of proprietorship, partnership, or corporate houses. Now, these small businesses are having smaller investment, very few workers, and they generate low production. Of course, the ultimate objective of small business is also to earn profit. I mean to say that, like large businesses, like large scale industries, like large enterprises, these small businesses also aim at earning profits, not only profits, maximum profits. Earning maximum profits is a common goal, common property of any kind of business, irrespective of its size. Whether it is small, medium, large scale or super large scale, the ultimate objective of business is to earn not only profit but maximum profit. This we should keep in our mind. Now I will come back to again small business. I would like to quote one or two examples of small business. And there are plenty of small businesses in our surroundings. Plenty of them. Look at these examples which I have quoted here. Grocery, bakeries, electricians, electronic shops, carpenters, hairdressers, photographers, outlets like mobile service providers, and so on. In our surrounding, we find so many small businesses, even pawn shop, tea stall, hawkers on the road. All these are small businesses. Now, if we go on studying small business and its classifications and definitions, we may not come across a precise or clear-cut definitions or classifications. Reason is, the classifications and definitions of small businesses differs from one nation to another nation and also differs from one time to another time. This is what we need to keep in our mind when it comes to the title of the paper, that is Small Business and Economic Development. I spent 1 or 2 minutes in talking about small business. What about the other half part of this paper, economic development? In first unit, there is a subtitle called Economic Growth and Development. While giving lecture on that particular subtitle, I will be talking more about economic growth and development. Now, when we go ahead with next slide, we come across the syllabus for BCom 5th semester 2019-20. This syllabus is prescribed by RCU Belgavi. There are 5 units. There are 5 chapters. First one is MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises. Second unit is starting of new business. Third unit is sources of finance. Fourth unit is creativity and innovation. And fifth unit is DICs, district industry centers. These are the 5 units that we are going to study for the year 1920. Now, we would like to go ahead with first unit. Look at the title of the first unit. Micro, small and medium enterprises. Now, the synopsis of this particular unit includes, number 1, introduction, meaning. 2, importance of MSMEs in economic development of India. 3, economic growth and development. Now, next slide, it's about introduction and meaning of MSMEs. Now, this slide begins with modern states, which are popularly called as welfare states. In contrast to this, ancient states are popularly known as police states. Now, question arises, why ancient states are called police states? In ancient days, very frequently aggressions, wars, attacks used to happen, and therefore the primary objective of ancient states was to protect their citizens against foreign aggressions. Thus, ancient states were called as police states because their main aim was protection, giving protection to the people, protecting the people. Therefore, ancient states are called as police states. Now, modern states are no more police states. They have not remained only, they do not function only one function of protecting their citizens. Modern states discharge so many functions, they conduct so many activities, they introduce so many schemes, they introduce so many programs. And if you look at the bottom line of all these activities of modern governments, the bottom line is all these activities are directed towards well-being of the citizens, welfare of the citizens. Therefore, modern states are called as welfare states. Now, welfare is a very abstract and very broader concept. It's a very broader concept. It is a subjective concept. Modern governments are called as welfare states because they aim for well-being of all the citizens, welfare of all the citizens. It may be political welfare, it may be religious welfare, it may be social welfare, it may be economic welfare, it may be welfare in the field of science and technology. Look at this. Welfare includes so many areas, modern governments. I mean to say all the governments across the world, they are looking after well-being of their own citizens. Now, since this welfare concept is too broad and includes so many areas, like as I said, political, religious, social, economic welfare. Now, how to attain this economic welfare? How to achieve economic welfare? Economic welfare of a country can be achieved by developing agriculture, industry and service sector. Now the focus is on how to contribute to national economy, national welfare through economic development. This we should keep in our mind, because our class is related to economics, and we should try to relate ourselves with economic subject, how it is connected with welfare of the people. I repeat, economic welfare can be achieved, rather we can say that socio-economic welfare can be achieved by developing agriculture, industry and service sector. Now, I would like to draw your attention to this particular class. What is the title of the paper? Small Business and Economic Development. Now, with reference to this, I said economic welfare can be achieved by developing agriculture, industry and service sector. Now, when it comes to industry, we find variety of industries are there. Different types of industries are there. Each industry tries to contribute to economic development. When we talk about industries, we find cottage industries, tiny industries, ancillary industries. We find micro industries, small industries, medium industries and large scale industries. When I am referring industries, I am referring enterprises. All these various types of enterprises stands for industry in general, economy in general. Now, of all these industries, of all these enterprises, cottage, tiny, ancillary, micro, small and medium enterprises play very important role in industrial development, in economic development. And they are the one who take care of or who help in solving the burning economic problems of a nation. And there where we club MSMEs. MSMEs, that is micro, small and medium enterprises, they add to national welfare by taking care of problems like poverty, unemployment, starvation. They try to reduce the gap between rich and poor. MSMEs play important role in controlling inflation. MSMEs play significant role in eradication of social disparities or discriminations. MSMEs are eco-friendly, therefore they help in controlling pollutions of various kinds and so on. MSMEs really play a very important role in a country like India, where huge population and vast geographical area is there. This is the introduction. In introduction part, I wanted to underline these things in this class. After knowing a brief introduction on MSMEs, next step is to know the definitions or classifications of MSMEs. How they are classified, on what basis MSMEs are classified or defined. MSMEs are classified on the basis of investment, production, which stands for revenue. They are classified on the basis of employment generated, on the basis of number of people employed. MSMEs are also classified on the basis of their nature, features and functions. Again, if we study various definitions on MSMEs, we realize that the definitions or classifications of MSMEs differ from one nation to another nation. It differs from one time to another time. Therefore, you do not come across a standard classification of MSMEs across the world. We do not, because it is classified on the basis of amount invested, revenue generated, number of people employed. Thus, we may not get a universal definition or generalized definition on MSMEs in the world. After knowing this, we find MSMEs may be in service sector or they are there in manufacturing sector. Now look at this. Here the MSMEs are classified on the basis of nature of product. We may have MSME in service sector, and also we may have MSMEs in manufacturing sector. MSME in service sector means these are those MSMEs which generate services of all kinds. And MSMEs in manufacturing sector means these are those MSMEs which generate products which are tangible, which are movable, which are visible. So like this we find MSMEs in service sector and also in manufacturing sector. We should keep in our mind MSMEs definitions, classifications differ from one nation to another nation, from one time to another time. With all that, we shall try to know how MSMEs are classified or defined in India. According to MSME Development Act 2006, MSMEs are classified on the basis of investment in rupees as shown in this particular table. Look at this first column. Classifications we have. Vertical classification, in the sense we are having manufacturing enterprises, and just below that we are having service enterprises. Second column we have micro enterprises. Third column we have small enterprises. Fourth column we have medium enterprises. According to MSME Development Act 2006, a micro manufacturing enterprise is one where the investment is less than 25 lakh rupees. And if our investment is less than rupees 5 crores in manufacturing sectors, we call it as small enterprise. At the same time, if the investment is less than rupees 10 crores in manufacturing sectors, we call it as medium enterprises. Remember, if the investment is more than 10 crores in any enterprises, in particularly in manufacturing sector, we call it as large enterprises. Now this is horizontal explanation of manufacturing sector. Just below manufacturing sector, you have service enterprises. Look at that particular table. If the investment is less than rupees 10 lakhs in service sector, we call it as micro enterprise. And if the investment is less than rupees 2 crores in service sector, we call it as small enterprise. And if the investment is less than rupees 5 crores in service sector, we call it as medium enterprises. Again, if the investment is more than rupees 5 crores in service sector, it is classified as large enterprise. This particular table, it gives a picture of micro, small, medium enterprises classified on the basis of investment in rupees in India. Next slide, we shall relate this explanation with revenues. This particular table, it classifies manufacturing and service enterprises on the basis of annual revenue generated in terms of rupees. Now look at this particular table. If annual revenue generated is less than rupees 5 crores, be it manufacturing or service sector, we call it as micro enterprise. The second one, if the revenue generated per annum is less than 50 crores, we call it as small enterprise. The next one, if the revenue generated per annum is less than rupees 100 crores, whether it is manufacturing sector or service sector, we call it as medium enterprises. In addition to this, again, we should keep in our mind, if the annual revenue generated is more than rupees 100 crores, whether it is manufacturing sector or service sector, we will call it as large enterprises. This particular slide, it shows classification of enterprises on the basis of annual revenue generated in terms of rupees. We shall have another slide which shows classification of MSMEs on the basis of laborers employed. Look at the first column. We are having both the area, that is manufacturing and service areas. According to this particular table or slide, if number of workers employed is 10 and less than 10, whether it is manufacturing or service enterprise, we will call it as micro enterprises. If laborers employed are 50 and less than 50, we call it as small enterprises. And if it is less than 250 or 250, we call it as medium enterprises, whether it is manufacturing area or service area. If number of workers employed are more than 250, then we call it as large enterprises. Friends, I have just introduced myself and the subject for BCom 5th semester students for the year 2019-20. This is my first video, first attempt, and trying to get acquainted with technology in teaching profession. I expect your honest feedbacks to me. Soon I will give you my email ID or contact number or a portal on which you can leave your comments. Today I end my video lecture with just introduction and meaning on this particular unit. Thank you once again. Take care. Take care of your family members. Thank you. Have a nice time.